Hello everyone, I'm Madan Kumar, working as a consultant chief perfusionist in Columbia Asia Hospital, Bangalore. I have created this channel especially for the student community and junior perfusionists. More CPB related topics will be covered under this CPB Simplify series in the upcoming weeks. Hope this series will be helpful for you all. Thank you. In this presentation, let's see about conduct of CPB. Conduct of CPB includes different stages: pre-bypass, going on bypass, during bypass, weaning off bypass, post bypass. In the first stage of pre-bypass, a perfusionist has to review the patient's chart and he has to collect the following data: patient height, weight, complete blood count, liver function test, kidney function test, echocardiogram report, X-ray, blood grouping report, serology report, and ECG report. With the collected data, perfusionist has to perform the following CPB calculations prior bypass: body surface area, blood flow rate, circulating hematocrit, blood requirement, heparin dosage, cardioplegia dosage, bicarbonate correction if required, osmolarity calculation. These are all the formulas used to calculate body surface area, blood flow rate, circulating hematocrit, blood requirement, heparin dosage, cardioplegia dosage, osmolarity, bicarbonate correction, potassium correction. Select the oxygenator according to the calculated blood flow rate. Select the custom tubing pack with the help of this table. Select the arterial and venous cannula according to the patient's weight as shown in this table. It's better to visualize the vessels and then select the desired size of the cannula. This table shows you the required normal flow and superflow according to the patient weight. During emergency, or if you don't have the patient height, you can use this table to calculate the required blood flow rate. Check whether heart-lung machine is having battery backup and whether it is connected to the UPS supply. Check whether your heater cooler device is cooling, warming and circulating. Open the selected cannulas into the sterile field and make sure you are keeping a set of spare cannulas available inside the OT. Now assemble the pump in aseptic manner. Add heparin to the selected priming fluids, and before priming, make sure your vent cap is removed and your pressure relief valve is unobstructed. Now prime and dear the CPB circuit. Check the occlusions for all the pumps as per your institutional protocol. Warm your priming fluids. Connect and zero calibrate the pressure transducer for both arterial side and cardioplegia side. Connect and check the temperature probes connected to your arterial and venous side. Connect and check the safety devices like bubble detector and level sensor. Check the pre-bypass checklist as per your institutional protocol and make sure you are signing it. Now the next stage of CPB is going on bypass. After heparinization, you have to make sure your ACT is crossing 480 seconds. Now circulate, de-air and divide the AV lines. Do pre-bypass ultrafiltration if you are using TRBC or whole blood in your prime. Do prime ABG and correct electrolytes if needed. Check your direction of the suction and put on the cardiotomy. Now cannulation process starts. Always arteries are cannulated first. In case of any blood loss, and it requires rapid fluid replacement. We can use the arterial site to reinfuse the volume rapidly. Then venous cannulation will be done. Now, vent and cardioplegia cannulas are placed. In this table, you can see the various different cannula sites for arterial, venous, cardioplegia, and vent. Fill the arterial line and connect it to the arterial cannula. Now, check for the swing and arterial line pressures in the pressure dial or the pressure transducer. Keep the hemodynamics always stable by returning the volume if there is any blood loss during cannulation. After cannulation, read the checklist before going on bypass. Announce the ACT value, make sure all the anesthetic drugs are given, make sure your CPB circuit are free from any air bubbles, and make sure your aortic line pressures are fine. Check whether your circuit connections are safe and intact. Make sure all the IV fluids from the anesthesia side are ceased. Record the pre-op urine. Check whether your directions of the suctions are in place. Make sure the vent caps are removed and there is no obstruction. Make sure your gas lines are connected and on flow. Make sure water lines are connected and on flow. And make sure there is no clamps on the arterial line. Now we are ready to go on bypass. After going on bypass, flow the calculated blood flow rate and maintain the adequate mean arterial pressures. Check for your pump line pressures. If the pump line pressures are going high, inform the surgeon to adjust the arterial cannula. Check for the adequate oxygenation is happening by looking at the color of arterial blood. Check whether both SVC and IVC or RA are draining adequately. Once you achieve full flows, ask the anesthetist to put off the ventilation. Start isoflurane or sevoflurane and vasodilators as per your institutional protocol. Make sure SVC and IVC are snared if bicaval cannulation is done. After snaring, again please check for the adequate drainage individually in both SVC and IVC. Check for ABG, VBG and ACT on pump after 5 minutes. Gear the cardioplegia line with cardioplegia and or blood. Now, aorta will be cross-clamp. Check for the arterial line pressure. If high pressures means inform the surgeon to relocate the aortic cross-clamp. Put on the vent. Simultaneously infuse the calculated dose of cardioplegia with adequate pressure. Avoid ischemic arrest for better myocardial protection. If heart is not arresting and the heart is getting distended means check whether the cross-clamp is intact. Start cooling the patient as per your institutional protocol. During bypass, make sure the following parameters are checked periodically. Maintain your ACT more than 450 seconds and make sure you are checking the ACT intermittently. Inspect the circuit and reservoir for any clot formation. Keep your ABG and VBG values in normal range. Keep your hematocrit at the range of 24 to 30%. Keep your SuO2 greater than 70%. Keep your electrolyte values, lactates and glucose in normal range. Make sure your mean arterial pressure should be in the range of 40 to 70 mmHg as per the patient's requirement. Make sure your CVP is always less than 0. If not, check your venous drainage. Keep the ECG flat after cross-clamping. Monitor your temperature while cooling. Ensure uniform cooling or rewarming with the aid of vasodilators. Keep the temperature difference between nasal and rectal temperature with the gradient of 2 to 4 degrees centigrade. Make sure adequate amount of cardioplegia is delivered for good myocardial protection. The CPG solution temperature has to be kept as per your institutional requirement. Reinfuse the maintenance dose of cardioplegia at regular intervals. Inform the surgeon about the cardioplegia time. Correct your sodium if HTK solution is sucked back into your circuit. Do conventional ultrafiltration intermittently and do zero balance ultrafiltration if required. Compensate blood flow rate while doing ultrafiltration by increasing the flows. Keep the urine output more than 1 ml per kg per hour and avoid hemolysis. The mean arterial pressure and pump line pressure gradient should be not more than 100 mmHg. Use isoflurane and sevoflurane during CPB if required. Give adequate muscle relaxants and sedatives at regular intervals as per your anesthetist protocol. The fluid balance should be monitored by checking the blood loss in the suction, gauze volume and table volume. Monitor the urine output also. If the fluid balance is high, add hemofilter or administer diuretics as per the requirement. Avoid excessive hemodilution. Avoid excessive suctioning to prevent hemolysis. The perfusion data should be updated periodically with CPB on-off time, aortic cross clamp on-off time, cardioplegia time, doses, pressure and the route of delivery, ABG, VBG, electrolytes and GRBS values, mean arterial pressure, line pressure, blood flow rate, gas flow rate, FiO2, nasal, oral, rectal, skin, arterial and venous blood temperature, SNP dosage, ACT and heparin dose if added extra, valve or any other implant details, urine output and hemofiltrate volume, fluid balance and approximate blood loss. After the procedure is over prior to aortic cross clamp release, come up on the temperature to 32 or 34 prior releasing cross clamp after confirming with the surgeon. Make sure your electrolytes, ABG, VBG values are normal. Release the snares if bicaval cannulation is done to allow the blood inside the heart. Start gentle ventilation to draw blood into the pulmonary vasculature and displace air from the left heart. Make sure adequate volume is available in the reservoir. Add volume if required and never ever compromise on blood flows or perfusion pressure while releasing cross clamp. Keep the vent on gently as per your surgeon's preference. Check for air inside heart with DE assistance. When adequately DE'd, you can release the aortic cross clamp. If the heart is fibrillating, can you defibrillate? If any heart block is there, you can employ pacing using pacemakers. Now we have to get ready for coming off bypass stage. Continue uniform rewarming with proper temperature gradient. Use vasodilators to facilitate it. Achieve target core and peripheral temperatures. Make sure ECG is in sinus rhythm. If not, use pacemaker. Adequate mean arterial pressure should be maintained. Start ventilation. Adequate venting of air should be done. Ensure the availability of blood products inside the OT if required. Now we have to get ready for weaning off bypass. Read your institutional coming off protocol. Both SCC, IVC snares should be desnared. Ventilation should be on and check whether both the lungs are reinflated or not collapsed. Ask the surgeon to suck back the volume in the pleural space if it is open. Ask the surgeon to check for any bleeding points if you keep on getting blood from the suctions. Confirm with the anesthetist whether the inotropes are started and reached the patients. Confirm whether blood products are available inside OT. Check and announce the urine output and hemofiltrate volume. Announce the ABG, electrolytes and lactate values. Announce the core and skin temperature. After reading the coming off bypass protocol, we have to be ready for coming off bypass. Make sure you are having adequate volume in the reservoir and then start filling slowly and adequately by monitoring the CVP. Gradually come down on your blood flows by the sequence of 3/4 flows first, then down to half flows, down to 1/3 flows, and down to quarter flows. At quarter flows, make sure your vent is put off if there is no air present inside the heart. If air is there, you have to continue the vent and keep replacing the vent. Achieve adequate filling of heart with targeted CVP and arterial blood pressure. When all the parameters are good, you can come off bypass. After coming off bypass, collect all the venous blood back to the reservoir, hemoconcentrate it if you have hemoconcentrator, and return the volume back to the patient. Do muff if required. Administer PRBC if HB is still low. Correct the coagulopathy by administering FFP, platelets, or cryo. Neutralize the heparin by giving protamine and achieve the baseline ACT. Put off your pump suckers after 30% of protamine is infused. Decannulation can be done after 50% of protamine is infused. Collect and return all the blood from the arterial line through the peripheral line if present, or collect and give it back to the anesthetist in a blood bag. Now calculate the fluid balance and approximate blood loss. Maintenance of anesthesia and preparation for ICU transfer starts.